This is our new book, Addictive Thinking. There's this young guy. His name's Ray. He's being interviewed, right? He's in detox. He's in rehab for drug addiction. And this guy that wrote the book, Abraham Tversky, asked him a question. He said, what made you decide it was time to do something about the problem? He's all, I've been on cocaine for a few years. And occasionally I'd quit using for weeks at a time. But I'd never decided to stop for good before. So this time I'm going to do it. For the past year, my wife has been pressuring me to stop completely. She used to do cocaine too, but she's been off for several years now. I finally got to the point where doing coke wasn't worth the hassle, so I decided to give it up completely. He says, I sincerely wanted to stop for good, but after 2 weeks, I started up again. And that proved something to me. I'm not stupid. I know that it is absolutely impossible for me to stop on my own. Maybe. We're going to look at that term right there, that little phrase he used, because the book we're going through is Addictive Thinking, and the things that we say that are illogical, the things that we believe that are illogical. We have to give ourselves time and abstinence from drugs to let that clear out of our heads, and then start seeing the self-induced, chemical-induced psychosis that the addictive drugs and chemicals caused on our brain to produce the thinking that keeps us trapped into what the term coined in AA uses, stinking thinking. So that's what we're going to be going through today. We're going to talk about what is addictive thinking. We're going to look at the distortion of thoughts. We're going to look at the thinking processes of schizophrenia and how similar it is to a person who has been using for years and is now clean and trying to figure out, why am I still acting and feeling like this? So that is the point of this whole book. The point of this book is intended to help the addict or the codependent. We're going to talk about both sides of this because codependency is very similar. We're going to help identify his or her thinking process and begin to overcome addictive thinking. Hey, glad everybody's here this morning. Good morning, Gaish. How you doing, brother? Brant, good morning, brother. Jen Ray, welcome to the show. Glad you're here. Angie Perry, good morning. How are you? She's like, good morning, buddy. Love it. Eugene, good morning. Good to see you. Addiction is madness. It literally is. It literally is madness. It produces psychotic effects in our minds, and we get trapped in it, and it's hard to get out of it. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of hard work, a lot of discipline, and rewiring, new education, all that kind of stuff on our brain. Having a great week. Me too. I'll have to fill you in. Good morning, Steffi. How are you? Angie Perry, sober, you reach sanity. Yeah. That's step 2. Return us to sanity, right? Came to believe in a power greater than ourselves can restore us to what? Sanity. Why? Because we were insane. Can't see me. Turn the brightness up on your screen. That might help. Hopefully. According to my stuff, I'm here. Anybody else having problems seeing me? Dez, what's up? G'day, mate. How are you, brother? Mountain Racer. Yeah. What's up, man? It's all about balance. What do you mean by that? Like a little bit of this, a little bit of that? Because some of us in this group, I don't know if you're new here or what, but people like me, I can't balance a normal life and drink just a little with self-control and balance. It's all abstinence for me, or I end up wrecking myself. Thank you for Petey for sharing. Appreciate that a ton. He says, what the heck's going on here? Jen Ray says, I can see you perfectly. Perfect. Thank you, Jen Ray. So this guy sincerely wants to stop on his own. And he says, I realized it, that it's impossible for me to stop on my own. It's impossible. Maybe. So this doctor guy, he repeats it back to him. He says it several times. He said, I want you to hear this. Look what you just said. It's impossible for you to stop on your own. Maybe. It's impossible for you to stop on your own. Maybe. I said, it is perfectly logical to say, maybe I can stop by myself. It's also perfectly logical to say, it's absolutely impossible for me to stop by myself. But to say, I know that it is absolutely impossible for me to stop on my own, maybe, is absurd because it is self-contradictory. It is either absolutely impossible or maybe, but it can't be both. And this guy, Ray, however, was unable to see my point. When somebody asks you a question and you go, are you going to this place? It's a definite maybe. It's like, it's one of those things. And this doctor's talking about this conversation, and he's trying to get this through to this guy that it can't be both, that you can be absolutely sure that you can't quit on your own, and then end the sentence with maybe. And he's telling this to other therapists and other psychologists. He says, I've repeated this conversation a number of times, and even seasoned therapists initially show no reaction, waiting for a punchline. Only after he points out this contradiction between absolute impossible and maybe do they see the absurdity of the statement and the distortion of thought taking place in the man's mind. That's what we're trying to get at. This is just the introduction to the book, is the absurdity of the things that we say and believe that contradict and keep us stuck in this thinking process. The phenomenon of abnormal thinking in addiction was first recognized where? Where was this first recognized? Alcoholics Anonymous. Imagine that. Great program. Where the highly descriptive term stinkin' thinking was coined. Old timers in AA use this term to describe the dry drunk, or the alcoholic who abstains from drinking but behaves in many other ways, much like an addictive drinker. Distortions of thinking are not unique to addictive disorders. However, nor are they necessarily related to chemical use at all. Hold on. Excuse me. Still morning. Still early. Distortions of thinking are not unique to the addictive disorders. However, nor are they necessarily related to the chemical use at all. Thought distortions can be found in people who may have other adjustment problems. For example, one young woman was procrastinating to turn her paper in for class. So, have you ever said stuff like this? The guy asked, why didn't you finish your paper? She said, I finished it already. Then why didn't you turn it in? Because I need to do some more work on it. But I thought you said it was finished. It is. Why did you turn it in? Because I need to do a little bit more work, but you said it was done. It is done. Not if there's a little bit more work to be done. While her assertion appears illogical to most people, it can make perfect sense to someone who thinks addictively. Furthermore, although distorted thinking does not necessarily indicate addiction, the intensity and regularity of this type of thinking are most common among addicts. You know what I mean? Starting to sound familiar? It's good to learn this type of stuff. It's good to dive in and see what the heck is going on in my brain. Why does it feel I think like I want to do this over here, but this stuff keeps happening over here? You just got to smooth it out. You got to rewire this bad boy. You know, even if you've had years of sobriety under your belt, but you still lean on small little highs, you know, and come up with little excuses to take other types of medication to cure you for a couple days or so, you know, you're still thinking addictively. And that's why for me, abstinence is the only way. I have to be completely abstinent. So we recognize that the statement, the term paper is all finished and I have to do work on it, are contradictory. But Ray's statement, I know that it is impossible for me to stop on my own, maybe, may not appear absurd until we analyze it. In normal conversation, we generally don't have time to pause and analyze what we hear. Hence, we may be deceived and accept a reasonable statements that are meaningless. Sometimes these contradictions can be even more subtle. For example, a woman asked whether she had resolved all the conflicts connected with her divorce, answered, I think so. Des says, it's quite often our own thinking that can prevent us from moving forward in anything in life. Facts. It's true. So he asks, have you resolved all the conflicts connected to your divorce? She says, I think so. There's nothing patently absurd about what this woman's answer was until you pause to analyze it. The question, have you resolved conflicts, means, have you done away with the various uncertainties, eliminated the emotional problems incidental to your divorce? That's what the word resolved means. The answer, I think so, is thus an assertion. I am still uncertain that I am certain. I'm still uncertain that I am certain. It's a yes or no question, really. Which brings us to the point that the thinking processes of schizophrenia, and how this really similarly looks to like somebody who's for reals got schizophrenia. But first, I'll tell you about my week. I had a good week. Felice and I needed some extra money, so I took on a little side job. Side job was hard work, but it was nice because I got to take off my recovery hat for a couple days and just be a maintenance guy and work construction type work, and it felt really good. So just let y'all know that I took a little break from what I do every day, did something else to earn a little extra money, and it was good for me. I worked hard. I remembered my roots of maintenance and construction and all that kind of stuff, and got to bump elbows with a bunch of working guys, and get into that conversation again. It was a nice break from my normal day-to-day stuff that I do here. So if you're worried about me, I did. I'm doing awesome. Still rocking my water, still doing my gratitude list. Here's something I started in the morning. I suck at journaling. I don't know about y'all. Some people they can just get up or throughout the day or at the end of the day, journal their day, and they're good at it. Me, I'm not. So I started one, and I have a friend in Florida who I've stayed connected with, and we talk about every couple of weeks, and just we really know each other well. So I can be, I can just tell him everything, and he's far enough away from me in Florida that he's not connected to everything I'm doing here locally. So he gets this outside view and understanding, when I tell him my struggles or my successes and stuff from a different view. He and it's awesome. So he's like, just start writing down a prayer journal. And so every morning I get up now, still same morning routine, wake up, thank you. First thing out of bed, I try to be first thing out of my mind, gratitude of some type of thankfulness. I come downstairs, grab my coffee, and I go through my little devotional. And then as my brain wakes up and as I start looking in my prayer journal, I just write down little words and little stuffs and keep track and little motivational verses or quotes and stuff that I come across, and I just jot them down. That seems to be working for me because I suck at just what do I write about when I daily journal? Let me write about my day. And so every morning I go back and I read, and it's nice because it reminds me of things that I want to keep on my mind, that I want to remember. And so if you're looking for a new little change and you're not good at journaling, write down little desires, little prayer requests. Let this be your journal between you and your higher power, your God. Know what I mean? It's working for me. I journal. Oh, let's see. Brant says, I do too, brother. It's a work in progress. Yeah. I've tried journaling, dude, for years. I've tried to journal. I just suck. I can do it for a couple days, but then I'm just this is dumb. I hate it. But this is the other way that I'm approaching it. Well, it seems a little better. Seems like it's more purposeful to just jot down my random thoughts of what I did today, or you know what I mean? I don't know. It just seems pointless to me, for me. But when I jot down my man, I'm worried about this, which is the same thing, isn't it? So when I say it out loud, it's that's just the same damn thing you're journaling. You just looked at it different, and because now it's a prayer request. It's a communication between me and my higher power as I'm writing, or as I reread what I wrote yesterday and add to it as I go. I had a friend call me last night. Great news. Great little turn the page in his life. Great paradigm shift. He believes like different than he did a little while ago. He looked at his whole year of life and he's just overwhelmed with joy and calls me to share this with me. And he's like, my ego almost didn't let me call you. And I was like, I'm glad you called me, because you would have robbed me of that joy to hear what you are going through right now. So it was really cool. And that prompted me to grab my book and just write his name in it so that I can pray for him, right? Keep him in my thoughts, keep the positive stuff going. And that's what's working for me in the mornings. It's a new little thing that I'm adding to my daily structure of trying to get 1% better every day. I want to become more disciplined. I want to be the best I can be and then capitalize on that 1%, you know? I don't know what that looks like. This is a fallen world. We're all dysfunctional, you know, we're all hurting at some point. Our emotions are either excited or sad, you know, it's like you can't avoid those things, but I want to be disciplined. Like I've said before, the secret is discipline. Discipline. The more you can get into a disciplined routine and make yourself do the things you don't like to do, but are valuable and add valuable and bring progress and success later, it's a necessary mess that we have to create, you know? And that's what I'm trying to do. Just trying to do things just small things, just like my little journal here. So thinking processes in schizophrenia. What? To understand more fully what we're talking about when we use the term distortion of thoughts, because that's what we have distortion of thoughts, we look at an extreme example. So as I'm reading through this and you start maybe seeing some similarities between a schizophrenic thought process, don't start going, oh, I must be schizophrenic, that's my problem. Because there's similarities, but it doesn't mean you are. Okay. And it's like somebody that has schizophrenia is not going to be able to change it through logical thinking and being able to talk back and forth and think it through it and say it out loud and get it off your chest, because they're convinced, you know, like this is clinical schizophrenia where medications and rubber rooms and stuff, right, are necessary. You don't need that. Maybe you do. I don't know. Go see a doctor. Therapists familiar with paranoid schizophrenic patients who have delusions of grandeur know how futile it is to try to convince the patient that he or she is not the Messiah or the victim of a worldwide conspiracy. The therapist and the patients are operating on two totally different wavelengths with two completely different rules of thought. Normal thinking is absurd to the schizophrenic, as schizophrenic thinking is absurd to a healthy person. A typical schizophrenic's adjustment to life in the normal society can be described in the terms like this. You got a baseball manager who's going to call his team up and tell him to punt. Or you got a football coach who's going to go steal a base. Doesn't even make sense. Schizophrenic people do not realize that their thinking processes are different from the thinking processes of most other people. They can't see why others refuse to recognize that they're not the Messiah. I'm the Messiah. How can you not see this? I have a worldwide conspiracy on my back. Can't you see the government's after me? And they don't understand. Like, why the hell don't you believe me? And we're like, you're freaking crazy, man. Why can't you see that? You know, and it's a disconnect. Still, many people, some therapists included, may argue with schizophrenic person and then become frustrated when the person fails to see the validity of their arguments. But this is like asking a colorblind person to distinguish colors. Yet the thinking of a schizophrenic is so obviously irrational that most of us clearly recognize it as such. We may not be able to communicate effectively with the schizophrenic person, but at least we are not fooled by the delusions created in the schizophrenic mind. We are more frequently taken by the relative subtle and distortions caused by addictive thinking. See, we come across whatever, right? A schizophrenic, whatever you want to call it. And it's obvious. It's like, yeah, that's obvious. You're not Ray Finkel. You can't kick a field goal. Laces out. Schizophrenia, you know. But the subtle qualities of that type of thinking in an addictive person are hard to recognize. And it could be what we're battling. So how does addictive thinking resemble schizophrenia? Some people with addictive diseases are misdiagnosed as schizophrenics. They may have some of the same symptoms. So maybe these are some of the symptoms you have. Delusion, hallucinations, inappropriate moods, very abnormal behavior. Ray Frankel. Thank you. I'm glad you got that, bro. All of these symptoms that I just described, however, may be the manifestation of toxic effects of the chemicals on the brain. These people have what is called chemically induced psychosis, which may resemble but is not schizophrenia. These symptoms usually disappear after the chemical toxicity is alleviated and the brain chemistry returns to normal. I was talking to Amber from Put the Shovel Down, and we had this person reach out. This has been a year or so ago. She's in Las Vegas. Her fiance I don't know where they're at now, but her fiance, they wanted him to go to rehab. And she's like, what if he doesn't want to, but he's willing to, and he's going to be at this 3-month program and he can't leave. Should we make him do that? And that's why I kind of feel like jail is a good place. And I know you can get drugs and stuff in jail. You can get drugs wherever you want. If you're looking for it, you can find it. But it's harder, right? So if you get locked up into a rehab for like 90 days, if you get locked up in jail for 60 to 90 days, I think it's a good thing because it gives that time for that chemical. And this is what she said. Any chance you can get an addict away from the drug and give that brain time to clear up and hopefully some logical thinking to start happening is a good chance for that person. And that's why I preach abstinence. You can't just, if you have a drinking problem, you can't just switch to like, oh, I use pot now. I can't. I should say I can't. And a lot of other people can't, especially if you're tuned in here, you're probably an addict like I am. You can't switch it over to that because then you haven't really let the mind clear up. If you have pains and aches and you rely on some pretty heavy type opiates beyond a ibuprofen 800, you're still leaning on a type of high to get you through that stuff. And that's actually a chemical still producing stuff in your brain that's not healthy. Abstinence, just the body wants to heal. The body wants to be normal. Unless you are literally a Ray Finkel and need to be locked in a rubber room and a doctor has said this and you got the history to prove it, 90% of the time, I mean, people are medicated that don't need to be medicated. We can get our sleep schedule under control. We can start eating clean and exercising and stay away from alcohol and drugs. Give our mind 6 months to a year working on good habits and discipline and conquer this stuff. Ibuprofen 800 is plenty for pain. It's plenty for any type of pain, you know, unless obviously you break your leg and it wraps around your head and you're in the hospital and you got pins through your face or whatever. You know what I mean? Just everyday normal stuff. So give the time, give the brain the time it needs for the chemistry in there to start returning to normal without being under the influence of those chemicals or alcohol. A person with schizophrenia, however, may also use alcohol or other drugs addictively. This presents a very difficult treatment problem. A schizophrenic is likely to require long-term maintenance and potential antipsychotic medication. Furthermore, a person with schizophrenia may not be able to tolerate the confrontational techniques commonly affected with addicts in treatment. Therapists teach addicts to desist from escapism and use their skills to cope effectively with reality. Stop trying to escape and cope with reality. No such demands can be made on a schizophrenic who may actually lack the ability to cope with reality. So you want to quit drinking, you want to quit using, yes, give your mind time to clear up. And then start coping with reality and quit trying to escape, even for moments, with legal numbing of any type, right? I actually had a temptation the other day to get a 5 to 10 second high. This is gonna make you laugh. So we're in the kitchen, we got the food out. My daughter grabs the whipped cream, does a little thing. I grab it and I'm like, I was that close to hitting some whipped cream and doing a whip it. I was like, and I tipped it out, got a little bit of the whipped cream and put it down. But the desire, the temptation, boy, it was all there. I was like, man, I could just hit this, whip it real quick and get me a good old high for a minute. But I know where that would lead. That would lead me to bend a little easier towards the next thing that came across my plate that could numb me a little bit more, right? That would give me a little numb for a second. I would have had a little more fun in the I used to love to party and drink and get high to increase the fun I was having, right? I didn't really hide the pain. Well, maybe I did. But that was one of those types of moments. We were having fun in the kitchen. Family time. And I'm just like, well, this will make it even funner. That's the temptation that was there for me. Had I had hit the whippet, I could have been guilty of a relapse, a lapse, whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't have drank, but it would have been addictive thinking. It would have been a relapse in judgment of inhaling gases that's not good for my brain. It would have starved my brain of healthy things. I play the tape through and I think about it. And it wouldn't have been good, because then the next time maybe some Valium gets slid my way and I'm like, you know what? I did have a hard week. I'm a little stressed out. Maybe, I could try this. And then it just, it just starts that's how it works for me. It always just starts snowballing. If I were to start drinking today, and I have this pattern in my life to prove it, I could probably drink this weekend and be fine. I'd probably wake up and like, oh, that was stupid. And then a month later, I could probably have a couple more and it wouldn't be as bad as it was the first, you know what I mean? But a year down the road, 6 months to a year, I would be up to either drinking every weekend or regular drinking through the week, and then give it another year, and all that would increase. It always snowballs to just completely out of control over a little bit longer period of time, except with meth. Meth, I was just like, just instantly crashed. Instantly give me more until I got locked up. But that's a little lapse I had. Well, I didn't have a lapse. That was a temptation of a little moment of wanting to escape, right? Or increase. So stop trying to escape through these types of things and learn to cope with reality effectively. Being confronted with the thinking of an alcoholic or someone with another addiction can be as frustrating as dealing with a schizophrenic. Just as we are unable to budge the schizophrenic from the conviction that they are a messiah, so we are unable to budge an alcoholic from the belief that he or she is a safe social drinker or a safe user of tranquilizers, or recreational use of marijuana and cocaine. We see addicts and we know that it's not good for them to safely be a social drinker, to safely pop Valiums or Vicodin or Loratabs, because their pinky toe hurts. Or marijuana, weed, dope. And that's a struggle this day and age, because weed is becoming, coming in the back door of medical stuff as it's socially acceptable, right? It's being sold now. It's legal. Even where weed's not legal, cops are super not giving a crap about it, because they're just like, well, it's legal over there. It's legal over there. It's only a matter of time before it's legal over here, and it's just weed. And if you are an addict, that's going to be a tough one for you. I just say stay abstinent, eat clean, do the work necessary, and reap the benefits of sobriety and health, because it is so much better than in and out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, on the fence of trying to be healthy, but yet, in the secret, I got my little my little numbing effects because I don't want to completely deal with and cope with reality, effectively. So, for instance, someone close enough to observe the late-stage alcoholic or other drug addict sees a person whose life is steadily falling apart. Perhaps the addict's physical health is deteriorating. Family life is in ruins and the job is in jeopardy. All of these problems are obvious due to the effects of alcohol or other drugs. Yet, the addict appears unable to recognize this. Life is falling apart. Overweight, liver failing, can't wake up in the morning, can't get to bed at night, right? Can't perform well on the job. Reputation's being ruined. Family problems. Can't get along with the wife. Everybody from the outside's like, dude, quit drinking. Quit using drugs. That's the problem. Oh, no, it's not because of that. It's because of... And they start placing blame on anything but their little addiction, right? He or she may firmly believe that using chemicals has nothing to do with any of these problems, and they seem blind to the logical arguments that are contrary. A defining difference between addictive thinking and schizophrenic thinking is schizophrenics thinking is blatantly absurd. Okay, schizophrenics, like, you are obviously not Jesus. Okay, like, that's absurd. Addictive thinking has a superficial logic that can be very seductive and misleading. Know what I mean? Steffi says, I don't have a pill addiction. Pills have always terrified me. Ditto. Now I'm really struggling at night battling with, do I take a pain pill or not because I hurt? I don't have them, but there is a script at the 24-hour pharmacy. I don't know if my addictive brain or the fact I hurt so bad. I get it. That's for you to decide the pain you're in, and I know you're all broken and stuff, so that's for you to decide. For me, I know my tolerance of pain with something like that because I've had my collarbone broke before and stuff, but ibuprofen 800 would work good for me. And I would have to get rid of the temptation of the gnawing little thing in the back of my brain saying, but you could, and it's a great excuse for. I did that when I got my teeth pulled, and I had it was pretty bad, hard surgery. And he gave me a script, and I'm like, oh, this is going to hurt for a few days, so I'm going to get these just in case. I'm going to get these pills just in case. And so the pills are up there in the medicine cabinet in my old house. And I took a couple because it was hurting pretty bad. And then I was like, oh, man. And all I could think about, and I'm not a pill-popping person. I don't like pills. I don't like downers. I'm like drunk and hot. I like to go fast. I like drunkenness because, it took my inhibitions away, and I'd jump off cliffs and talk to people and act a fool. I liked meth because I could stay awake for forever. Pills and just sit there nodding off and itching was not my thing. But I'm an addict, and anything will do in a pinch. Knowing those pills were in there, and I'm like, well, that did take away the pain, and I kind of feel good. If I could just take a few more, I'd probably feel better, And it was just like I'm trying to watch TV. I'm trying to just live normal life. And right here in the back of my head, I knew the pills were just right there. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Tired of those pills and this little connection or whatever it's doing to me. And I just went and dumped them, flushed them down the toilet, ended it. You're done. Get away from me. 800 ibuprofens. I'll take 2 if I have to. And I actually ended up like putting garlic, like you just cut off a chunk of garlic and stuff it in your lip, because that numbs you up pretty good. Anything but those stupid opiates is what I was doing. Justin Sweet, good morning, bro. 48 days sober. Yes. How you feeling? How's life treating you at 48 days sober? Keep going. Keep this trajectory. You're doing good, brother. Thank you. Good morning, Marilyn. Good morning. Totally right. That's why I left them at the pharmacy. I would call the pharmacy and just like tell them, this is what I would do. You do what you want to do. No judgment here. But I'd call the pharmacy and be like, I'm allergic to that drug. So all of them, every single opiate type of thing, I'm allergic. Put me on the list. I have to squash things like that. Or there's this, I swear, when I point back here, I literally mean it feels like there's like this little pulsing, like annoying, nagging something in here, and I have to like crush it. And if I don't take care of it and crush it, it just keeps bothering me. Obsession, compulsion, in addiction, and codependency. Did you know that often addicts are taken in by their own thinking? Actually deceive themselves. So that's what this deception, schizophrenia, and all that kind of stuff with addictive thinking is because these illogical thoughts and this addictive ways of thinking about why you need what you need, just like what I was talking here with the pills, is me deceiving myself. Me almost hitting that whippet the other day was a little temptation, and luckily I'm far enough into recovery and I had the tools to pull out of my bag and just shoot it down. It didn't last long. It was just like a couple minutes, It was like, but that moment was there. I mean, it was like, do I do it? No, I don't. Justin says, I feel amazing. I'm trying new things every day and I feel like I got my life back. So we're talking about, what kind of new things are you trying? What kind of new things are you up to? So the treachery of the self-deceptive thinking may infect codependent family members as well as the chemically dependent person. So you got two people in a relationship. This one's addicted to chemicals. This one's a codependent, addicted to the addiction of the person addicted. What happens here? Who is codependent? Various definitions and descriptions of codependency exist, but the one that seems most comprehensive is Melody Betty's. She says, a codependent person is who has let another person's behavior affect him or her, and who is obsessed with controlling that person's behavior. So if you are a person who another person's behavior is affecting you, and you are going out of your mind trying to control this person, you are a codependent and have a problem. And you will be subject to the mind of addictive thinking. And you're going to be subject to problems that follow with that. Miserable life. When you want to control somebody so bad that you're stressing out and you're sweating and you're arguing and you're fighting, that's a problem. So codependency needs to be dealt with just as much as addiction. The important part of this definition are the words obsessed and controlling. Obsessive thoughts crowd out all other thoughts, and they drain mental energy. Obsessive thoughts crowd out all other thoughts, and they drain mental energy. Think about that for a minute. And do you want to live like that? I don't. Obsessive thoughts may intrude at any time. And strangely enough, any attempt to get rid of obsessive thoughts may only increase their intensity. So sometimes you recognize them and you're trying to get rid of them, and all of a sudden all it's done is increased its intensity. Trying to drive away obsessive thoughts is like trying to get a coiled spring out of the way by compressing it. The more pressure you put on that sucker, the more it fights back. Excuse me. At the risk of oversimplification, we might say that the addicted person is plagued by the compulsion to use chemicals. A codependent person has an obsession with the addict's use and the need to control the addict. Corey, welcome. Good to see you, brother. So that's this book we're getting into. We're going to talk about all that, how to overcome it. We're going to dive deeper into recognizing it. We're going to look at self-deception and addictive thinking. We're going to look at the addictive thinker's concept of time. We're going to look at confusion and cause and effect. origins of addictive thinking. We're going to look at denial, rationalization, and projection. We're going to look at dealing with conflict. We're going to look at hypersensitivity, morbid expectations. We're going to look at how we manipulate others, guilt and shame, all that stuff. In our morning live streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you're not following, follow. And remember, don't forget, times are tough. Money's tight, so tight that I went and did a side job so we could get a little extra bit of money. And the best way to support Recovering Addict is to hit the like button, hit the heart button. And when you come across our reels, you know, we're producing a lot of content now. When you come across all this stuff, just watch it. Give it time and then share it out if you could, please. We would totally appreciate that. And we appreciate you. Like, I wouldn't be up here doing this if you guys weren't watching. And the fact that I get little messages from you are very encouraging to me when I hear that somebody's been helped and doing well. Just like that phone call from my buddy yesterday who's doing so good. And it's funny because it's a year-long struggle of trials to reach the point he's at right now. It was a beautiful thing. You know what I want to look at? I want to look at Discord. I want to see how everybody's doing with the challenge. So we have an August challenge, and we do monthly challenges here at Recovering Addict. And this month is August, and we're doing this challenge, and the rewarded person who completes this challenge, we're going to put them in a drawing, all the people who complete this, and we're going to send you out a full Recovering Addict merch set. So the first thing on our list to do for this challenge is to identify your daily routine, look at ways to improve it 1% better every day. And my little 1% better was getting up and starting this little prayer journal. So first thing I do when I wake up, I sit up and I try to say thank you for something. I usually look out the window and just say, thank you, I'm alive. And it just doesn't even complicated or anything. I just say, thank you, I'm alive. And just random things that pop to my barely waking up brain. Then I come downstairs, I grab my coffee and I grab my daily devotion. And now I've added 1% better by jotting down requests for people, for things I want, goals, and that's improved my day by 1%. So what I'm trying to do is replace things, look at things in my daily life, and if it does not add value, get rid of it. And if it does add value, keep it. Number 2 is get control of your sleep schedule. And this is the discipline part of it. Plan a time for lights out. All right. Lights out. Time to go to bed. I'm a big boy. Oh, but I want to finish this episode. And this is me talking to myself, right? This is such a good episode and there's only 20 minutes left. No. You shouldn't have started it. Shut the lights off and go to bed. And that's what I do to myself every night now. And set an alarm to wake up. I'm getting up at 5:30 every day now. Discipline. Get your sleep schedule under control. Let your body's natural ability to be scheduled through the way that the chemicals are released. The melatonin comes in to fall asleep, the cortisol or whatever it is that comes in and starts waking us up when the lights come through, when the sun comes through and hits our eyes and starts releasing the chemicals to wake up. If you get all that into a schedule, man, life improves, I'm telling you. And then you add to it like clean eating and working out. But number 2 is getting your sleep schedule under control. And then 3, 4, and 5 is the same as we always will have. 10 things you're grateful for and 10 things you like about yourself. 45 minutes of some type of moving exercise. Just go for a walk the dog, and you can habit stack all this stuff somehow. Drink a gallon of water, and then read or listen to a nonfiction book for at least 15 minutes. And you can do that while you're walking. You can do that while, habit stack. Brandon says day 632. Yeah, I love it. LT and Felice are amazing. So if you're local, international, love y'all. Thank you, Steffi. Yeah, I love our local group, man. Love it. So that's what we're looking at here in the Discord. If you want to join the Discord and you want to be a part of this, I will create you your own little channel right here. Let me make it bigger so you can see what I'm talking about. Create you a little channel right here so that you can post in here what you do, like Savage Freedom. She's doing her own little live streams and her own little video vlogs. Get in there and get motivated by her. I haven't looked in here for a minute, so I'm a few days behind. Ooh, you watched this one? That was fire. That, Steffi, Matt Chandler, was fire. I love that sermon. No smoking day one. Yes. And we're just going to get encouraged by the stuff that we're doing. We're posting our goals and our daily August challenge in our Discord every day. It's a discipline. And that is the key to sobriety and good life is discipline. Geesh is killing it. Listening to the Daily Stoic, things he's grateful for, gallon of water. He's up on time, 1% improved, gratitude. Today is grateful for steak dinner with the family. My grill cooler temperature today, 80%. Almost feels cold, right? Thank God the heat streak of heat is over for us too. Good job, Geesh. I'm proud of you, brother. Jen Ray, beginner fat burner, water. You're not crazy. You're codependent. Listening to some educational stuff. What's this one? 20-minute full body. Beautiful. Water. Beautiful Jen Ray. My day at the beach. Nice. So cool. Drinking water. Doing her exercises. Killing it. Jen Ray, I'm proud of you. Burn 300 calories in this 30-minute workout. 330 minutes. Holy crap, that's a lot. That's big numbers for 30 minutes. Renee, she's doing it. What's the date on this one? Oh, I lost it. So I go back and I look at the date. August 10th. Today's the 11th. It's doing good. Beautiful. Right on track. Check it. My dog's ringing the bell. JV, this dude's crushing it. He gets it. 3 different types of serious life destroying addictions, and this guy is just now killing it. Lost hundreds of pounds from overeating and is now about to run a marathon. That blows my mind. B. Jens, checking out Atomic Habits. Look at our beautiful golf course. Oh yeah, I'm into golfing now, guys. Apparently I'm a golfer and I like it. So I'm going to start a new hobby. I'm going to try something new. I never really liked golf in the past. I went out and did a golf tournament. We supported these cheerleaders here at our local high school. It's right up the road my son goes to. We sponsored them. They had a golf tournament, so we went and played. And I had a blast. I had a great time, and it was fun. And I think I'm at that age where, I think I'm at that age, guys. I think I got to try, see if I like to golf. I did have fun. Yes. Oh, he kissed her. Kissed Ray Frankel. Oh, I love it. Proud of you guys. Keep rocking these challenges. Keep rocking sobriety. Keep rocking life. You all encourage me like crazy. I love the little messages I get from you. I appreciate that a ton. I thank you for sharing us, and thanks for being a part of my life. For reals. Thank you for being a part of my recovery and a part of Felice and my children's life. All of it just works together to be the better person I am today than I was yesterday. And I can't express how much I appreciate that. And I truly mean it from the bottom of my heart. Sunday night, we are going through a book called Atomic Habits. Right there. Felice and I will be here. Sunday night live streams, Atomic Habits. Morning live streams, Addictive Thinking. If you want the schedule to our live streams, I will let this ticker run across the bottom of my screen if I still have it. Right there it is. Live stream schedule is Tuesdays at 7 a.m., Thursdays at 7 a.m., Sunday nights at 8 p.m. This is all Mountain Time. I live in Utah. Utah time, you can catch us. And if you can't catch us live, that's fine. You can rewatch it if you want to. Just play it like a podcast. If you go on YouTube and you have YouTube Prime, you can just shut off your screen and listen to it too. It's up to you. Appreciate you guys sharing this out. And I will see you Sunday. So God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Till I see you next time, do not put yourself in a high-risk situation. Stay strong, work your program, and remember, we recover better together.